The Chicago Bears take on the Colts this Sunday in Indianapolis. Can the Bears offense finally get things rolling? Watch this video to hear my thoughts. What's going on, guys? I'm back with another Chicago Bears pregame prediction video, which I'll be doing before every single Bears game this year. And it's already week 3. The Bears are currently 1-1. The Colts are 0-2. So you know this is going to be a game in which Indy is going to be very, very desperate. Okay, sitting at 0-2. Any team in the NFL is going to treat that next game as a must win, because if you sit at 0-3, you have a very low chance of making the playoffs. And I am a bit surprised that Indy is 0-2. They should have beat the Packers last week with Malik Willis starting that game, the Packers backup quarterback, but they got gashed on the ground the entire game and somehow choked that game away, right? Like, that's a game the Colts should have won. They did lose against the Texans in week 1, which is a pretty good showing by the Colts, I would say. Okay, they barely lost that game, but yeah, they're gonna be, fighting hard in this game to get a W, and the Chicago Bears have to make sure they don't take this team lightly, even though they are sitting at 0-2, because they do have talent on both sides of the football. And their head coach Shane Steichen was one of the best coaches, I feel like, in the league last year with what he did with Gardner Minshew. Now, Anthony Richardson is a lot rawer of a quarterback than Gardner Minshew was, and they've been having some troubles on the offensive side of the football, at least in the last game they did, right? So this is a game the Chicago Bears can win. They're underdogs by 1.5 points according to most sports books, but being on the road, obviously you most of the time are going to be an underdog. So Vegas views this game as being basically almost a toss-up, and if Eberflus wants to go out here and prove to the rest of the NFL world that he belongs as head coach of this team, I think he has to start winning games like this, in which, against an inexperienced quarterback in Anthony Richardson, like, your defense has to get after him and force him into making some turnovers, and you got to find a way to win this game. Okay, we're done rebuilding, and the excuses are just not going to be there in year 3 for Matt Eberflus. I know his defense has been fantastic, but he has to find a way to get things going on the offensive side of the football, talking with Shane Waldron and, really making sure that Caleb is ready for this game, and the offensive line also is ready. Okay, the offense has been one of the worst in football so far, so we have to get things rolling in Indy, hopefully. But let's talk about the Colts offense first of all, break down that side of the ball for them. And I will be talking about stats now. It's only been 2 games, so don't take these stats too seriously, because it's a very small sample size. But so far, the Colts offense ranks number 18 in points scored per game, number 14 in yards gained per game, number 17 ranked passing attack, number 16 ranked running attack. And Anthony Richardson is a big X factor on this offense, I feel like, right now. Okay, the Colts are going to go as he goes, so his good games, the Colts are definitely going to win. His bad games, I think the Colts are definitely going to lose, because Anthony Richardson has very high highs and very low lows. Kind of reminds me of Justin Fields in some ways. Like, he'll be making some fantastic highlight reel plays every single game, like a deep bomb down the field in between defenders, where you're like, oh my god, this guy's amazing. Then later on in that game, he'll throw a very bad pick or just miss somebody over the middle. So I think a lot of it is due to him being a very raw quarterback. Like, he's barely started any games since high school. So he needs more reps in him. And I think that with that inexperience, the Bears could definitely get after him and force him into some pretty bad throws. But he is a fantastic rushing threat as well, which the Bears are going to have to worry about. So far this season, he has 93 rushing yards, and you guys saw in college football, like, he had some just crazy runs in which he was hurdling guys, like one of the most athletic quarterbacks I've ever seen in the NFL. So if the Bears can't contain the quarterback in the pocket, it could be a long night for our defense with his ability to run outside and make plays outside the pocket. So Richardson is a big X factor. Talking about his weapons, Alec Pierce is having the best start to the season out of any of the receivers on this team right now. He has 181 receiving yards and 2 receiving touchdowns. So he's been the primary target so far. He's a big-bodied, athletic guy. It's a guy that I actually wanted the Bears to draft a couple years ago. So I was very high on him coming out of that draft, and it seems like he's having a very good start to this season. So keep an eye on him, potentially making big plays down the field for Anthony Richardson. Josh Downs might be returning in this game. He has not played so far this season due to injury. I think he might be coming back for this game. I'm recording this video on Tuesday, so it's too early to tell if he's going to play or not. But if he does play, that's a big time weapon inserted into the offense for Anthony Richardson. Okay, last year he did have 771 receiving yards, so fairly productive as a complementary piece on that receiving core. They also got Michael Pittman Jr., obviously, who's a threat to make a big play. Also drafted Adonai Mitchell out of Texas, and he's not really done so much so far, but we saw in college football like some of his route running ability and his ability to stretch the field as well. So this, Colts offense does have a lot of speed going down the field. They have a good mix of height, size, and like athleticism. So the Bears corners are gonna have to make sure they're not sleeping on any plays, because they could get torched down the field with the speed the Colts offense has. Now, talking about the run game, Jonathan Taylor is their RB1, obviously, and he's having a pretty good start to the season. He has 151 rushing yards, 5.4 yards per carry. So there have been a lot of successful running plays on this Colts offense. The efficiency is super good when Taylor is at his best and fully healthy. Like, he is one of the better running backs in football. Okay, he is a true like primary workhorse type of back, if the Colts do decide to feature him as that this year, which, seems like they have been running the ball a good amount so far. So, keep an eye out for him in terms of running the ball. And if you look at the offensive line, their O-line protection has also been fairly good so far this year. Okay, they have multiple guys according to PFF on that O-line that are ranked pretty highly. Anthony Richardson has only been sacked 3 times, and he's had a good amount of time in the pocket on some of these plays. Quentin Nelson's been having a good start to the season. Will Fries has been one of the best guards in football so far. They got the tackles have been pretty solid too. Ryan Kelly at center. So this will definitely be the toughest challenge for the Bears defensive line in terms of O-line talent they're going up against. So we'll see if the Bears can still get after the quarterback with this fantastic O-line talent. But switching over to the Colts defense, they have definitely been bad there. They rank number 19 in points allowed per game, number 31 in total yards allowed per game, number 8 ranked passing defense, number 32 ranked run defense. And the number 8 ranked pass defense stat is kind of misleading, because teams have been running the football a lot against this team, so that's why they've not been passing a lot, and that's why the total passing yards allowed have not been as high, because they're so bad in terms of run defense. Okay, last game, the Packers had 200 plus rushing yards in the first half against this defense. They have been a historically poor run defense. They allowed 150 plus rushing yards to Joe Mixon, so it's been back-to-back weeks where the Colts run defense just cannot figure shit out. Okay, they are not gap disciplined. They have been, poor tacklers as well. And for a Bears offense that has struggled so much to run the football, maybe this could be the matchup in which they finally get the run game going, okay? Because they have just been so bad against the run. Even Malik Willis, ran good amount in the last game. He had 40 plus rushing yards. So, against a mobile quarterback, Malik Willis, they struggled against him in terms of keeping him contained in the pocket. Caleb Williams is also a mobile quarterback. He was the Bears' leading rusher in the last game. So if they struggled against Malik Willis, running the football, I think Caleb could also get a couple big time runs going in this game. And talking about their pass defense, it's also been pretty bad, guys. Okay, according to EPA per play allowed, expected points added allowed per play, passing play, they're the second worst team in the league. So I know their total yards allowed against the pass, again, looks low, but that's only because teams have been running the football so effectively against them. Okay, they have a very young secondary. They have very young cornerbacks and Jalen Jones and Juju Brents, who have not been playing a whole lot of games in this league. So especially Jalen Jones, like, he's been one of the worst starting cornerbacks in football so far this year. So that's the guy the Bears definitely should attack going down the field. Caleb should be targeting that guy. And Kenny Moore is good. Okay, Kenny Moore, the nickel cornerback, has been good for a long time, and he's a pretty good player. But there's just only so much one player can do in the secondary, and with the lack of pass rush they've been getting, which, by the way, guys, DeForest Buckner could be out in this game. He suffered a pretty bad injury in the last game, so that would be another big-time break the Bears could be catching on offense if they don't have to go up against DeForest Buckner. Okay, DeForest Buckner is one of the best interior defensive linemen in all of football, and he's the main cog behind this Colts defensive line. So if he's not there, that's going to severely limit the pass rush. It's going to limit some of the run defense as well. They still have some other guys in this D-line, don't get me wrong. Like, it's not a totally devoid D-line that doesn't have any talent, but without their main superstar in the middle, things could be pretty difficult in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback, which, with how bad the Bears O-line has been, maybe they can still get some pressure on Caleb, but I'm hoping the Bears O-line, can finally get a good matchup here with the Colts D-line. Now, with football season fully in the swing of things, if you guys want the best place to place wagers on NFL games, MyBookie is that place. MyBookie is a sponsor of today's video, and they have some incredible promotions going on this season. They currently have something called risk-free boost on Thursdays where you can bet without a sweat. If your bet hits, great, you win some money. If it doesn't hit, MyBookie will refund your wager, so that's pretty cool. They're also giving away hundreds of thousands in prizes in their Super, Survivor, and Squares contest, so get your entries in that to potentially win a lot of cash rewards. And when you're ready to get started, guys, if you use my promo code WindyCity, there's a link down below to get started. Use my promo code, you actually double your first deposit up to $1,000, which is really amazing. I mean, you can get a big start to your bankroll with this promotion. So if you guys want to place wagers on potentially Bears games or even other games, in the NFL or other sports too, okay, MyBookie has a lot of sports to bet on. This would be the opportunity to do so. And they also have something called MyBookie Plus, where the more you play, the more rewards you earn. So they have a loyalty program that takes care of you as well. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, and make the season a winning season using MyBookie. Getting back to the video, talking about the Bears offense, they rank number 18 in points scored per game, number 31 in yards gained per game, number 32 ranked passing attack, and number 28 ranked run game. And things just feel all too familiar for Chicago Bears fans. Okay, having the worst ranked passing attack in football. The thing that's not familiar is not even having a good run game anymore. Okay, the Chicago Bears have a putrid run game so far. The run game has not gotten going whatsoever the last two games. DeAndre Swift has 48 rushing yards on 24 attempts. Our leading rusher this season is our quarterback, Caleb Williams, which is not a good thing, right? So it's been, a mix of poor blocking up front, some bad vision on some plays by DeAndre Swift, some poor play calling as well. It's not, I don't think the blame is all going to one player for the lack of run game, but they got to figure it out, okay? The Chicago Bears are so one-dimensional right now, where in the last game against the Texans, Caleb threw the ball 37 times on primetime TV when this O-line was playing so bad in terms of pass protection, okay? That's not a sustainable formula to score points in this league. Again, especially with a rookie quarterback, you have to get that run game going. So we'll see if the Bears can finally figure something out in terms of running the football. I hope that Khalil Herbert gets some more carries, because Herbert has been our most efficient back, but for some reason, the Bears kind of put him in the doghouse, and Roschon Johnson also has not even been a factor in terms of this Bears run game. All the carries are only going to DeAndre Swift. So, that's been pretty poorly. And the passing attack also has been concerning. Caleb has had some issues with throwing the ball down the field, but again, a lot of that has been due to some poor blocking up front, some miscommunications with the receivers, and also just some flat-out inaccuracy from Caleb Williams. Okay, our quarterback Caleb does have to be more accurate with the football, which it kind of surprises me he's not been accurate downfield, because in college football, he was one of the most accurate quarterbacks in all of football. So I think it's a thing where he just has to have more reps on this offense and just kind of get his feet wet in terms of like connecting on that first deep play. When he does that, I think the deep plays are going to be coming, back to back to back to back. Like, he just has to get that one big time throw down the field to Roma Dunsley, to DJ Moore, whoever. And after that, I think his confidence is going to be getting going in terms of that deep passing game. But that's been something that's been very missing from the Bears offense the last couple weeks. Okay, all the passes completed have been for 3, 4, 5 yards. Sometimes we get a 10, 15 yard play, but it's been very limited so far. So the Bears have to find a way to get this run game going, and also to get this passing attack to be completing passes down the field. Now, talking about the Bears defense, they have truly been special so far this year. They have been a top 10 defense according to most metrics. They rank number 6 in points allowed per game, number 8 in yards allowed per game, number 11 pass defense, number 13 run defense. And what I've been most impressed with is how stellar they have been in the second half of each of their games. Okay, in the first game against the Titans, they allowed 0 points the entire second half. Against the Texans, they only allowed 3 points the entire second half, which is so impressive against CJ Stroud. Okay, one of the best quarterbacks in football against a dynamic passing attack. We allowed them to very little in that second half. So we've definitely been better at closing out games as compared to last year, where last year our defense allowed a lot of big time plays in the second half of games. That has not been a problem so far this year. So hopefully the Bears can keep up that stellar second half performance. Now, another really encouraging thing has been the D-line becoming a strength on this team. Okay, if you told any Bears fan before the season that the Chicago Bears D-line through 2 weeks at least would be one of the best units on the entire football team, I don't think anybody would believe you, okay? That's the place where a lot of Bears fans thought was going to be a weakness, but we have multiple guys stepping up and having big time seasons so far. We have Andrew Billings being ranked as one of the best interior defensive linemen in all of football so far. He has 6 pressures on the year. Javon Dexter has 2 sacks on the year and also 6 pressures. We have Demarcus Walker with 6 pressures, Montez Sweat with 7 pressures, Darrell Taylor with 4 pressures and 2 sacks, obviously. So we just have guys coming in waves at the quarterback, and everybody is stepping up. I mean, it's been very encouraging to see this as a Bears fan. I think that a lot of the credit also goes to our new defensive coordinator, Eric Washington, who's been known to develop defensive line talent. He's already been doing a fantastic job with the Chicago Bears defensive line. And finally, with this Bears defense, I do want to quickly talk about how good our secondary has been for the most part. Tyreek Stevenson has allowed some big plays, but he's been the only guy to really allow anything in coverage. Jalen has been completely locked down, one of the best corners in football. Kyler Gordon's been having a fantastic season. Kevin Byard has been rock solid in coverage. Jaquan Brisker is having a very good start to year 3 for him. So all in all, man, like this Bears defense is like turning into a top 5 unit with how they're playing. Okay, they have to keep this up, obviously, the entire season, but so far, it's been a very good Bears defense. Now it's time for my 3 keys to Bears victory. How can the Chicago Bears win this game on the road? And key number 1 is going to be to get the run game finally going. Okay, this is a very simple key, but it's something that absolutely has to happen. The Colts have a historically bad run defense. If we cannot run the ball against this team, our run game is never going to get going the entire season. So I want Shane Waldron to stick with the run game, and I want to see some big runs being broken through against this team to take pressure off of Caleb Williams. We cannot have him passing the football 37 times in his rookie year. That is not a sustainable formula for success. So that's key number 1. Key number 2 is going to be to have better communication on the offensive line. Okay, these simple stunts have to be able to be picked up, and it comes down to awareness and communication, which right now our offensive line is really lacking in. Okay, I think we do have some level of talent though, besides for center Coleman Shelton. Like, he's been getting dog walked the entire season, so I'm definitely going to be worried about him. But these other guys do have the talent where these, miscommunications should not be happening. Okay, Darnell Wright has to be a lot better. Tevin Jenkins also has to be better. Nate Davis obviously has to be better. But these guys, if they just communicate a little bit better, start blocking with a sense of urgency, like, our offensive line is not going to be nearly as bad as it's been so far this year. And playing a Colts D-line without DeForest Buckner is definitely going to help. Coleman Shelton would have probably gotten dog walked again by DeForest Buckner. So, against a injured defensive line, like, we have to be able to protect Caleb Williams. And then finally, key number 3 is going to be to keep Anthony Richardson in the pocket on defense. Okay, Anthony Richardson is a quarterback that can make fantastic highlight reel plays outside the pocket, but I want the Bears defense to obviously try to contain him in the pocket and limit the big plays down the field. Okay, with the cover 2 shell that we should be playing in this game, like, we should be limiting big throws down the field and making Anthony Richardson, have to read the defense and get 3 yards here, 5 yards there, 2 yards there, get these short completions. And I hope that Anthony Richardson eventually is going to mess up doing that, because again, he is a very raw quarterback. So you got to be able to, really contain him and make sure he does not beat you with his athleticism. And finally, it's time for my score prediction. Who do I have win this game? And guys, I have the Chicago Bears going on the road, beating the Colts by a score of 24-17. Yes, I have the Bears offense scoring 24 points, partly because of turnovers. I think the Bears defense will get a bunch of turnovers in this game because Anthony Richardson has 4 picks on the year. I think one was on a Hail Mary, so I won't count that pick, but like, he has 3 picks on the year, and he's made some pretty precarious throws so far this year and also in the preseason. I think he's a quarterback that, against an experienced, really good Bears defense, could be making some mistakes, and the Bears could have a couple short fields in which now I expect Caleb Williams in the offense to convert on those short fields and score some points. I think the Bears run game finally is going to get going to some extent in this game. I don't see us, having 150 plus rushing yards, but I do think we have the chance to, have DeAndre Swift finally have, 80 plus, 90 plus rushing yards and, finally get some of these runs going for 10, 15 plus yards. I think that Caleb passing the football is going to have his best day as a quarterback so far in this league, which is not hard to do with how bad we have been passing the football the last 2 weeks. But if you look at these corners on the Colts, like, there will be opportunities to attack downfield, especially if we get Keenan Allen back. I hope that we do get Keenan Allen back because he's one of the best route runners in the NFL. And Caleb and him almost connected a bunch of times in week 1. They were just off by like a little bit every single time. So if Caleb gets his connection going with Keenan Allen, like, this Bears offense should be pretty explosive in this game, and hopefully Caleb can have 200 plus passing yards and finally get his first passing touchdown in the NFL. And for my offense MVP, then I will indeed be going with Caleb Williams, the rookie quarterback. It's a pretty risky pick to make because so far he's not been good the last couple weeks, but I think that Caleb finally gets stuff going in this game and shows off the fantastic talent that he had that caused the Bears to draft him at #1 overall, because I think the Bears supporting cast on offense is going to be better in this game against the Colts defense. So I have Caleb throwing for 2 passing touchdowns and 220 passing yards. Let's say I'm not going to go crazy and predict 300 plus because we barely have been able to get 200 plus, right? So I think if he gets 215, 220 passing yards, that'd be a pretty solid performance. And for defense MVP, I'm going to be going with TJ Edwards. I think that TJ Edwards gets a pick in the middle of the field because I do think the Bears are going to be forcing Anthony Richardson to throw the ball in the middle of the field. I think that TJ Edwards, being the fantastic player he is in coverage, gets a pick on Richardson. But leave your comments down below, guys. What do you guys think is going to happen in this game? I know that Bears fans are pretty pessimistic right now with how the last game went on offense, but I really think the Bears should win this game. Okay, our defense is top notch, and with the Colts defense struggling, I think the Bears offense can finally get stuff going. And if we win this game to go to 2-1 on the season with the next game against the Rams, who also have struggled, like, the Bears could have a chance to put together a winning streak, but we got to first win one game to have a winning streak, and hopefully the Bears can win this game. Leave your comments down below. As always, bear down.